Well, hello there, everybody. How are you all doing? Thank you for joining me on this ever continuing journey, no matter what realm, what dimension, what time, right? So, thank you. Trust you're having a fantastic day. Speaking favor over us all. Gods do it. Well, we should do it. Well, that's right. We're gods. So, speaking favor, it's a godly thing. So, anyway, nothing missing, nothing broken. Shalom. Yeah, ponder, get that serenity of the one within you. Good place to be. So, welcome everyone. Hello, everyone in the chat room. How are y'all doing? Rick, DC, and good to see you. Linda Espinoza, Mary Wins, what's up? Hey, Robert Scott, good to see you. Deborah Sloan, Brandon, what's up? Good to see you. Lori and Gilbert, I think I saw in there earlier, and Melissa, and much love to y'all. Thank you for what you do. And y'all do a lot. So, how's your reality? Well, I have multiple of them. You know, I'll choose like, I love the peace, and I'll get the other one, with the favor. Yeah, it's like wearing glasses, you put on, you know, rose-colored glasses and everything looks rosy. Except I have the lens of the spectral. So we get to see within that which we cannot see, or so they say. Just saying. Goddess, how are you doing? Susie Q. Nina, what's up, girl? She's going to be on next Friday. Going to have fun with that. John, what's up? Good to see you too. So, wow. One of the things that I truly appreciate is that I can look at things and see them in a completely different perspective, a different light. And, as you travel this planet, each day we live and die. So, depending how many days you've been on this planet, I would contend that's how many different lives you've had since you've been here. Interesting. And when you come to certain places in your life and you say, that used to be really important to me. I was dedicated to that, focused in on that. And then things change. And it's not so much that it's the environment, it's what happens within us. And that is part of the journey, seems to be, is that, you know, I guess the question I would ask, the spirits ask me all the time, well, how many epiphanies have you had today? There's people that go through life with very few epiphanies, and you got to go, oh, okay. Yeah. I try to have at least one good epiphany each day. It's like taking, the full regimen of vitamins and what have you, and, worshiping the body. And, a good epiphany is good for the mind and is good soul work. So, my point to all this, and as the title of this, The Ship of Fools, because, you know, something, again, is so amiss that what you can't ignore it. You can't say that it's relevant because it is. And you can't say, well, I really don't involve myself in that one. That's cool. But remember, um, nature abhors a vacuum. So it's going to get you in one way or the other. And I look at this world now, and it's very odd in so many ways. Because I did a show a number of years ago that said, do the spirits trust you? Do you have enough integrity that a spiritual being of another dimension would trust you? Are you trustworthy? They're there. Many people say, well, I don't see these spirits. I don't have any. Well, there may be something and a reason for that. If a spirit is a spirit and a spirit is assumed to have knowledge, I don't know if a spirit needs intelligence. I really don't. What are you going to use intelligence for? Intelligence here is measured on your cognitive ability to adapt, basically, to learn. The problem is with so many people, when they get into middle-aged life, they stop learning. They stop the development. And I think it's one of the most wasteful things we do. But anyway, getting back to this whole point that there are mechanisms that have to be in place. Character. I don't know, again, if a spirit needs intelligence, but I have a sense that a spirit possesses knowledge. Now, you can say that one goes with the other. I don't know. Maybe. But still, then you would have to say then the spirits, the invisible spirits, well, if they're around us, they would know us, right? They know what you do in private. They hear everything you say. Now, the interesting point to this is that I do not believe that all, I don't believe that all spirits in the ethereal are omnipresent. We're going to talk about some characteristics, and I don't believe that's the case. So, how many spirits are watching you? I don't know. Are you worthwhile watching? I mean, I was taught that there's a lot, because if you take the number that was given in the Bible, um, there's something like 100 trillion angels that were supposedly created on day one. So they were in the beginning of time, according to Abrahamic um, beliefs. So you get like 100 trillion. And if you go with the whole narrative that there was this war, I still can't figure out how you get war when you're in perfection. I mean, that doesn't even make sense to me. But anyway, that's how the narrative goes. And then there were like, 33 trillion angels, demons. And by the way, not all demons are controlled by Satan. The biblical God, which one? We'll go with the Hebrew one, actually has legions of demons. Now, where's that at, Wayne? It's in the book of Isaiah. Check it out for yourself. He has legions of demons. They are his. And then the other cat has his. But here's the problem. You see, if Satan exists, because we're going to get into that, then here's the conundrum. Satan would then be a business partner with Jehovah, with Yahweh, with Jesus. I mean, you can't have this antithesis and there not be profit. I mean, if the God of the Bible controls everything, then hell would be under his dominion. Oh, excuse me, but it does say that that is Satan's. Now, Lucifer is not Satan. But Satan, if you read the Satanic Bible, which we have here, first part of it says that there is no Satan. Well, I think that's technically true. However, we also know us humans, we have this amazing ability of creating these thought forms, egregores, and every god is an egregore. It's just the truth. I mean, look it up. So all gods are thought forms, and we're the ones who created them. And since that is the case, then in fact, Satan is real. We taught it what to be. And that's I'm coming to a point here because we're on a ship of fools here, where we have leaders today who proclaim a belief in God, Jesus, but yet all their action shows that they're actually agents of Satan, which then means that from the White House down are full of Satanists. They practice satanic characteristics. What are satanic characteristics? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Let me go over here because I think this is so interesting because we're going somewhere with this. Just keep steady. So this is according to the blueletterbible.org. Satan is, number one, proud. Where do you see that? Well, turn on the television. Every one of these leaders are egomaniacs. So they have the first character of the God they worship. This is Biden, this is Trump, this is all of them. Proud. They're very proud. Arrogant. They think that they're above everybody else, that they don't have to obey the rules and the laws. Second one, they're fierce and cruel. Now, this is characteristics assigned to Satan, capital S, because the small s is how it really is, but we're going with the narrative. That's the thing I was taught. I can remember this so well because there was a day where I was in church 3 days out of the week, very active in all the ministries, and yeah. And I can remember it being drilled into my head. The verse in I think it's First Peter, where Satan, the devil. Now it's interesting because they use the word devil there, which doesn't necessarily imply Satan. It certainly doesn't imply Lucifer. But in any way, it says that he is described as a lion who goes about seeking whom he may devour. And then you're supposed to use the shield of faith to quench all the fiery darts of the devil. Not Satan, but the devil. Capital D. Anyway, let's continue. Powerful. Well, you typically see people in positions of power. That will go to their heads because they have nothing in their souls. They've compromised themselves to the point where it doesn't matter. I have power. Very powerful, powerful thing. And then even in here, it says the devil is a powerful being. Even Michael, the archangel, would not rebuke him without calling upon the name of the Lord. Now, that's not the name of God. Angels can't speak God's name, nor can man. Weird, isn't it? But anyway, another characteristic, deceitful. You know, when you have a person, today we're picking on politicians, but I could do the same thing with, preachers. I could do the same thing with CEOs. But when they lie, and boy, a liar doesn't like to be shown that they're a liar. All liars are there. And you got to admit, politicians are the masters of lies and deceitfulness. Now, and in here, it's interesting, as they said, that Satan's methods consist of deception. So if you have a government that lies to you, they're employing deception. Well, very obvious who they serve and who their master is. It's Satan. They exhibit exactly the exact characteristics of that which they speak. And it's not what so much you say, it's what you do. Egyptian death mythology teaches that each person, they will have their souls weighed, their hearts, against the feather. So if you have a company, a corporation, media platform, politician, whatever, that deliberately lies, they are an agent of their god, Satan. They exhibit the characteristics of Satan. Now, folks, I'm just going with a simple logic. I'm taking the narrative that we're under today because you've got this belief in this country, and I was in there for a long time, that, the United States is a godly nation. It's a nation dedicated to God. That's as far from the truth that could be. And then you say, well, you hear that we're a Christian nation. That's a goddamn lie. That's just all I got to tell you. Like hell, we're a Christian nation. Never have been, never will be. So then, who then is now the central figure of this? Satan. Subtle. He's also described as subtle. Well, even Paul wrote about that. So you have the characteristics of this being, this thought egregore, right? And then what does that say? As I'm back here. Hello, dude. Looking good, man. Yeah, thanks. Well, I'm just a simple guy here. I still remember what my fifth grade teacher, Miss Button, said. An ounce of common sense will outdo a pound of book learning. I took jobs away from those who had master degrees. I didn't even have a high school diploma. Why? Because common sense trumps intellectualism. An ounce of common sense outdoes a pound of book learning. Figure out the ratio from there. So you just have to be honest here. So is Satan the true God of the United States? Because that's what the government acts like. Has all the characteristics of what Satan is and does. And so how can you proclaim that you believe in one God when you're actually doing everything of its enemy, right? Because we've got this, bifurcation. Gets weird, doesn't it? So we've got this crime syndicate. Let's just step back. So if the United States is actually a satanic nation, we're certainly not a righteous nation. If we ever were, that is so far in the rear view mirror, we can't even see it anymore. It's just true. So if the United States then is this Satan, then it means that there are many other countries that would be in league with the devil as well. Now, it's interesting because I was taught that Satan, not Lucifer. It's really interesting about Lucifer, JD. I know you listen in, brother. Y'all really have to tune in. I love JD's shows, but even the Bible says that God can't touch Satan right now. Apparently, there's this, I don't know, this thing, and that Satan, not Lucifer, is the God of this world. That it is Satan who controls the wealth. It is Satan who controls the governments. It is Satan, da, 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 da. Powerful being, wouldn't you say? And look at the internet. Look what AI is doing now. AI has got humans so confused, we don't know what the truth is and we don't know what the lie is. So we're so befuddled, we can't even figure that out. Got no freaking idea what that is. Yeah. Another thing about Daniel 70 weeks, in one of the things Hilton Sutton, who was my mentor and teacher, always brought, and J. Vernon McGee, he was another cat, that knowledge, it was prophesied 3,500 years ago, thereabouts, that knowledge would be everywhere. And that knowledge would drive us nuts because we don't know what to do with it. Our brain and our development has limited us to access. A lot of people say that, we only use 10% of their brain. That's wrong. You use 100% of your brain. You only use 10% or less of the capacity of what your brain is capable of doing. Now, I think that's by design. If humans were allowed to use the full capacity of these organs, this magical box, the gods would really be freaked out. And if we're regressed intellectually, wouldn't we be regressed spiritually? I mean, seriously, how do you do this ascension thing? What, is knowledge just going to be granted to you? I don't think so. Life has taught me that people who get something that there's no cost associated with it don't appreciate it. They'll abuse it. They just don't care. It has no value to them. It was given. And there's a lot of morons today. Again, choose a world leader. Moron. Dysfunctional moron. So you're going to tell me that dysfunctional moron that when it dies, those mouth breathers, that what? Some fucking knowledge is this going to be enlightened him, and then all of a sudden he's just radiantly glowing. I know that. I know that. I don't think so. And of course, then you have the counter thought that says, well, but we're eternal beings, and so what are you saying, that we all had all knowledge the moment of our existence? Doesn't seem to be that way at all. Just from my observation, and Gilbert Smith, would you agree on this? You have to seem to fight for every fucking piece of knowledge that you get, particularly one that really means the most, the one that sticks down in you, that defines who you are. I mean, that's how I've seen it. Listen, I could have had a path where I just didn't give a shit about nothing and blamed everything, everyone, society, and everything upon all the woes upon me, and completely gone through life just being a mouth breather. No, it was food for me. the harder it got, the harder I fought. Makes you strong. Spiritually, it makes you a fucking opponent that many spirits don't want to fuck with. They just don't want to fuck with you because they know you're going to fuck them up, fight them, challenge them. And a lot of spirits just don't want to deal with that shit. They just don't. It makes us hardcore. Hey, Gaia, how you doing? How's Paul? Chris, good to see you, Morning Star. Yeah, I know it's blunt, but that's exactly how it is. You know, we're going to be talking about death because this ship of fools and the ones that are driving the course, they're leading us to death. I mean, you got the Deagle report, you got everyone now, former officials in the government, even though some in the government are saying this black swan event's coming. Well, that's bad news, folks. That ain't good news. And it means it's already being anticipated. We know that that's part of the last element you have to have before it happens in the physical. So getting back to this whole thing about fighting for the knowledge, it comes at a sacrifice. And if knowledge is transferable at the moment of death, well, tells me there's going to be different degrees, different levels over there. That some of the souls or spirits we met here, we won't see over there. There'll be these rifts. And in a sense, we're all in this process. It seems to be just a matter of degrees and levels. So it got me to thinking, all right, so if we have this, and by the way, Satan is the god over death. Satan controls death. According, depends on your perception, but according to the biblical perspective, that's what it says. Now that's interesting. Again, it shows me that this is an inside job, man. I mean, that's all you can get down to. It's just an inside job. This is exactly what a crime syndicate is, a cartel. They control both ends. They control the raw product out to the finished product. I mean, if you have a hell, why I can't figure out if Satan is so prideful. Maybe he's not the smartest cat we think. Because why would you want this God's rejects? I mean, you're prideful. You'd be basically getting God's rejects, you know? And I don't got time for them. Listen, I know what that feels like. I was a throwaway kid. I know exactly what it feels like. You have to fight through that shit, man. Because it'll crush your fucking spirit. You know, who cares about you? No one gives a damn. No, that's wrong. I learned if only I give a damn, then that's a lot more than what other people have. I have at least one. I digress. So this whole thing of this Satan, I mean, he's only there because of this one. And this one, by the way, charges a tax, by the way, of 10%. Never figured out why Satan didn't do that. Oh, well, maybe it's because he controls the money. Well, if he controls the money, then he's paying protection over to the God, the Hebrew God, Christian God. I mean, he's definitely paying protection money to somebody. It's just a freaking fact. That's why when you die, if you really got to get right down to it, tell them to bring it on. Come on, motherfucker. You want to fuck with me? Fine. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, they're just going to say, not worth it. Not worth it. No, no, no. He knows too much. Or he knows just enough to be more dangerous than what he realizes. Okay. I'll stop with the salty language. But it's true. You just got to have that attitude. Listen, if the God of the Bible can curse, then why can't we? Oh, we do. We do it all the time. Cursing is a part of our existence here. Why, you son of a bitch. Go fuck yourself. Hey, go to hell. I mean, yeah. And we're good at it. We're really good at it. We're so good at cursing that, when you really want to bliss someone, you stand out like, you freak. What's wrong with you? Oh, excuse me. uh, all right. So we're talking about the ship of fools. So if they're guiding us to what can only be interpreted a very bad ending. Listen, you've got the United States Congress passing budgets in trillions of dollars now. Listen, all they are is the party of enslavers. Yeah, Democrat, Republican. They're slave owners. They've enslaved future generations of Americans to a debt that future generations of Americans will have no part of. That's Christian? That's somehow benevolent? Slavery? Huh. Maybe there's some truth as to which party started the KKK. I'm just saying. Robert Byrd was a member of the KKK. He was a proud Democrat. So you got Republicans and Democrats who lie and deceive. They're Satanists. They can say everything. They can stand in their pulpits. We've seen that. They lie. So we're ruled by Satanists then. All right. So we've got that. But we're under the illusion that there's some other God that is supposed to be more powerful. But again, this is all leading to a conclusion. Death. Ours. So do you know what the laws of the dead are? Did you know that there are laws of the dead? I want to share this little grimoire with you because I think you will like it a lot. So this is John Dee. This is the Gloriam Impeccum, or the Book of the Old Spirits, being the book of the law and practices of the sleeping dead, learned by Dr. John Dee from the works of Abu al-Hazared, including the conjuration of all manner of chaotic spirits, secret seals and talismans, the truth of the old spirits, and the ultimate keys to life and death and the universe. Okay. Kind of feel like Ren and Stimpy. Stimpy! They're going to be taking us back to Rome. Anyway, so written in 1680. All right, that goes back. Little background. Said, when in his poverty, in the year of our Lord 1606, the great astrologer, Dr. John Dee, was forced to sell many of his treasured books. Could you imagine that library? If I could go back and travel in time, I'd love to go back and see what that library looked intact. And then freeze time so I could begin to read. Now, of course, I would have to have the knowledge, right, of many of the different tongues and have an understanding of the symbology, yeah, it gets a little deep. Anyway, among those which he sold was this book, the great grimoire of the most powerful spells to conjure demons more fierce than those that Solomon imprisoned. We must warn the Karsist to take care while reading this book. Read it always within a circle and make the sign of the cross after each page. Otherwise, demons from every altitude and sphere shall be attracted to you indefinitely. Well, okay. Do find it interesting, though. Altitude and sphere. Okay. So are you properly been informed? All right. It says, this is the book of powerful conjurations and subjugations of demons and gods which dwell in faraway places. Now, I contend that in the House of Representatives, it is a temple, that it is, in fact, more going on there than what the average person would ever perceive. I don't even think the participants fully grasp what's going on. But no doubt about it, it is a temple. And in there are laws that are passed. Now, laws are big deals. I was thinking earlier as I was putting this all together, one of the best Bible teachers was a pastor I had for a while, Rick Shelton. And anyway, Rick did a series on blood covenants. It's like 12 hours. And it taught me more. Today, it's amazing because you retain this information, and now I get it. I even get it more than what probably I thought I got it to begin with. But if you can understand that these covenants exist over in the ethereal realm and how much they impact us here, wow. So anyway, getting back to John Dee's work here, places which are passed north and south, east and west, up and down. Places which are even beyond the earth and the furthest planets. Places which are far from the creation of God. And this is interesting because if you read the story of the fallen angels, Genesis chapter 6, we know that the Nephilim, that this God, whether it was Elohim, Yahweh, whoever, when he was informed that there were these Nephilims, he said, and you can read it in the book of Enoch, he said, I did not create them. I did not put my life in them. They are bastards to me. I will have nothing to do with them. That's deep. So if you can grasp that, you're pretty much further ahead than the vast majority of others. So there is this places which are far from the sight or the knowledge of the God of creation. That's strange. The secrets which I shall tell you of were not learned until late in my life, when, in 1601, I started to translate a manuscript which I had owned for many years, but had not cared much for. I cared not for it because it was given to me by the fraudulent Barnabas Saul as a present to me, so that we should part as friends, despite the lies and deceptions he had told to me. I received the manuscript from Saul in 1581, and I kept it in my library for many years and would have given it to anyone who asked for it. That was how little I cared for it. Oh, how glad I am that I did not part with it. For now I realize how important the text is. In the late days of 1601, I felt curious about the book and wondered if it was as valuable as Saul had told me before we parted company. The manuscript said that it was the word of Abad al-Hazred, who had learned much of the secret art of conjuration from avatars and spirits that he met whilst traveling in the desert. When I first practiced the rituals which were described in this book, it was then that I realized its importance. For here was the most powerful book ever to be written by mortal hand. But I bid thee to beware, for the book gripped me with a desire to devote myself completely to it. And I found that I had developed a mania for it. Much of my other writing stopped, and all matters of humanity became unimportant to me. This desire for the book made me devote many of my waking hours to it, and I experienced many horrific things. But I also found out many most secret secrets. I wish that I had more time on this mortal plane to study the book. For even now, I see that it contains the key to many unfathomable mysteries, including the mysteries of life and death, and even the secrets of the Creator himself. Please listen to this final warning before you read further. The book attracts many demons to it. Even now, they will be watching you, invisible. I urge that you pray that they are gone and banished each time you turn a page. Otherwise, you may find yourself overcome by them, which would doubtlessly mean madness and death. This is like John Grissom and Dean Koontz. It's like, do we go further? Well, I don't know. Hey, listen, you want a piece of me? You want a piece of me? Let's continue. The Liber Primin. This is the book of the laws and practices of the sleeping dead, written by myself, Abd al-Hazred, the great sorcerer and poet. With the secrets in this book, I have spoken with dark spirits who have furnished me with many riches, both in the form of money and knowledge. I have even learned the unlearnable knowledge of the divine ones. Such is the power of what I've learned. I have also learned of the old spirits who lived before man and still live dreaming, and they are very terrible. It was a face of one of these very spirits that initiated me into this powerful magic. One morning, I awoke to see that the world had changed. The sky was darker and rumbled with the voices of evil spirits, and flowers and the life had been strangled by them also. Then I heard the screaming call, the screaming of something beyond the hills which was calling me. The screaming called maddened me and made me sweat. In the end, I could not ignore it and decided to find what manner of beast was making the screaming call. I left my house and set out into the desert with the call sounding all around me. In the desert, I wandered without anything but the clothes that I was wearing. I sweated during the day and froze during the night, but still the screaming call kept on. On the third day, on the 18th hour of that day, the screaming call stopped, and standing in front of me was a man. The man was completely black, both in face and clothing, and he greeted me in my tongue and with my name. The man told me his name, and his name was Ebenor, and he was a demon. Ebenor was the one who had made the screaming call, and I did not yet know that he was more than the lesser demon that torments the infirm. He was the messenger of the most evil spirits called the old spirits, which even the most powerful sorcerer of even God cannot completely control. This demon gave me the gift to understand all languages, whether it be written or spoken, or of man or beast. This is why I, Ab al Hazard, have been able to read documents which have confused many lesser mortals for many decades. But I have also been able never to get peace. For even when I try to lay down and sleep, I can hear the creatures around me speaking. I can hear the birds and the desert insects, but worst of all, the dogs, which madly growl and bark about the coming of the old spirits. So, folks, think about this. Are these old spirits about to make an entrance? The world can't continue in the confusion that it is. We've got madmen leading countries, Biden, Putin, Jing. These people are not, they're possessed. They're possessed of a spirit that the vast majority of their constituents have no idea that they're possessed with. Is it possible that in this time of technology, where everything is technologically advanced, that we are in fact seeing the very collapse of our foundation of our society, that these old spirits, these old gods are coming in? There may be new ones, but these old ones have been resting, they've been sleeping, but they have been awakened. Is it by the madness of what our collective consciousnesses are shouting out? We're being consumed by violence. We're being consumed by double standards. We no longer have a moral compass of a center. And that is like a compass that's in the middle of a magnetic field, spinning around. It doesn't know where it's going. It's odd because that was also prophesied in Daniel's 70 weeks, which a lot of this came from. Now that the screaming call had ceased, I returned to my town with my new knowledge and had many sleepless nights, listening to the sound of the smallest beast and invisible demons talking. Only where everything is dead could I ever sleep, thought I. After many days without sleep, I set out into the desert once more, hoping to find Ebenor and to make him take back his gift. It's like the genie in the bottle, right? Be careful what you wish for I had found it to be a most terrible curse. For 3 days and 18 hours I wandered again. On the 18th hour, Ebenor appeared to me. I fell before him and begged him to take back his gift, as it was driving my mind away from me. But he did not show any compassion. Instead, he said that he would show me more knowledge. He took my hand and led me beneath the cold desert sands, down many sets of steps untrod by man, until we reached the door to a secret chamber. In here you shall find the ultimate truths, but you shall only understand a little, said the demon to me as he opened the door. Then I heard the screaming call coming from the portal, but this time it was 1,000 times more intense, and Ebenor took my hand and pulled me across the threshold. Through that door, I saw all the untold knowledge, although only a little has my mind retained. Kind of gives you the sense that, no matter how far we think we've gotten, we're still just not even a dot. We're maybe a half a dot. And that's intimidating. It's frightful. And then it pisses me off. We have these brains, right? But this is how these spirits speak to us. It's our brains that are interpreting what this energy is saying. And if they're real or not, they could say the very same about us. But they apparently seem to be very long-lived and seem to possess so much greater than us that how is it a fair fight? No matter how much you want to resist, how many you want to kick back, we're still screwed. They limit to us. They parcel out. I don't like that feeling. And when the learning was at an end, I found myself back in the desert standing by Ebnor, who laughed at me and jested that the mind of man was much inferior to that of the old spirits. I had learned of the old spirits in the secret chamber. They were most terrible and evil spirits who came from outside creation to live upon the earth. Well, that sucks. Totally. Then at time before man was born, they were expelled from the earth because the stars became wrong. All were expelled from the earth except, and folks, I have no idea how to pronounce this. It looks like the Nyarlathotep, the Dark One, or Egypt, and the messenger of the old spirits, of which Ebenor was one face. Turning away from me, Ebenor laughed again and said to me that one day a time will come when the stars are right again and the old spirit shall return. With this having been said, I was alone once more. Now, I'm just a common guy here. But if I was on the street and someone said that to me, I only have one way to take that. That's a threat. And I got the sense that this is a threat that can be backed up. But you gotta love the story. I swear. We'll just do story time. I may go over about 10 minutes because this is, well, how many of you have read this book? I decided to rest, although my cursed gift was still with me. It was when I rested that I realized that I was holding a book. The book contained the many names of whoever Otep is, we'll just call him that, the old spirit's messenger. I was able to read this book perfectly, but no one else was able to, for they said that they could not understand the words on the pages. The book told me that the Nyarlathotep has 21 names or faces. Each of these names may be called upon in their correct hours, from the third hour in the day to the penultimated hour in the day. With each name is a sacred and special sign, which must also be used with the correct invocation. And the names are thus: the name of the third hour, and let's see this. I guess I would pronounce this as Itodateya, and he is master of magical words and phrases, and he should be consulted much in your work, for he will deliver to you many words of power. Etonate has no body, but may manifest as a mist or remain invisible. And there is his seal. Okay, it says all of the seals except for the final one are made from 3 lines and 3 curves. All right. The name of the 4th hour is Odanin, who brings with him the wishes of the old spirits. You may wish to communicate with Odanin rather than with the old spirits themselves. I think that would probably be highly advisable, for it is many times safer. Just got that feeling. Odanin will appear before the magician as a shadowy figure who is only just visible. The name of the 5th hour is Ban-Ebo, who will reveal to the magician the whereabouts of splendid treasures, but be warned, do not let him persuade you to leave your circle. Be sure to get directions from him and then banish him. Ban-Ebo appears as a deformed and bloated man and emanated the odor of rotting matter. I really don't get that. I mean, So that implies that you can smell as a spirit. Um, and if you can smell, would it follow that you can taste? You obviously can hear. You obviously can speak, even if it's telepathically. But apparently they know all the languages, so you can speak. Weird, eh? Just call him JJJ. The name of the sixth hour is Obanob, who will reveal to the magician many secrets concerning the universe. Now, reading these names and on this grimoire, but I often wonder, humans did this. And so if you have humans in high positions of power and wealth, do you think that their lives are just like nothing ever happens? I got a sense somewhere along the way, a demon, a demigod, a god, goddess, whoever, approached them and they made a deal. Now, I often wonder when people deliberately deceive others, and when you deceive and then there is human blood that is shed because of that, in the spirit realm, we use the expression, the idiom here, you have blood on your hands, but actually that blood carries forth to the other realms. So you're stained, your soul is stained. You've shown to the spirit world you're not trustworthy. You've shown them that you will lie, you will deceive at ease, that you show no consciousness of this. So is it human still? Because one of the things I know about demonology, that we were taught that demons love pleasure. They love this thing like being a superstar. And I know a few musicians that have had, they wrote about it. We would call it paranormal experiences. No, no, think about it. The name of the seventh hour is Bo Sorol, who will appear as a huge and fiery snake. Do not look into its eyes, or you shall be trapped forever. But command him to appear in human form, and he will have to obey. Bo Sorol has the knowledge of men's mind, and you may ask him to reveal the knowledge of a man which you shall name. Now, in my demonology teaching, that is what we called a familiar spirit. We all are assigned one. The antithesis that would be your spiritual guide, guardian angel. But there is apparently this demon, lesser demon of most nature, that follows you everywhere, never leaves you, knows everything about you, and his ability is to confuse you and to control you. The name of the eighth hour is Ox-Urin, who has knowledge of the future and will appear on a black horse, which can run faster than time itself. So if a spirit can metaphorically, allegorically, run faster than time itself, that's a time traveler, isn't it? Just saying. Just saying. Okay. The name of the ninth hour is Badaro. I like that. Badaro, who is the Lord of Gestures and will teach the conjurer many magical gestures, with which he shall be able to open gates to other places or affect the minds of men. It's some powerful stuff, folks. Not that I'm encouraging anyone to approach these entities. Whew. The name of the 10th hour is O-Senin, who has control over the bodies of men and can change a man into any shape the magician tells him. O-Senin appears with the body of a man and the head of a lizard, which is enveloped in flame. Wow, I got to tell you, I have been really stoned. I mean, really hallucinating. I have never seen a dude with the head of a lizard that was enwrapped in flames. I saw this girl, Kathy Smith. I still remember. I was standing there, living at Family Connection, and swear to you on this, I watched her. She started growing these really big ears, and then she got this. You ever seen striped gum? Well, she had the green stripes. It was a green stripe, a white stripe, but I just remember just growing these really big ears. I'm just looking at her, and I can understand why she was looking at me, because she wasn't where my mind was at. No, anyway, look at this, almost time. Well, I may pick up this on tomorrow. Let me know if you want to continue on this. This is, I had others that I was actually going to be bringing into this discussion. But anyway, true story though. I just remember just looking at her. Anyway, those memories, what can I say? Uh, I'm just reading some of this. Gaia, isn't that weird? It's now a excellent wizard, the highest quality. You are correct on authenticity. Uh, see, yeah. I mean, pharmaceutical. What is the Greek word? Pharmacia? Yeah. And that is witchcraft. I mean, it's control. It's money. It's wealth. It's the manipulation of the mind. It's the highest alchemy in Gaia. You are right that there is. And that's how they control people. And it's amazing how many people in our society are controlled by drugs. I read somewhere it's like 84, 85% of the population is on some sort of medication, some kind of prescription drug. Huh. Sure, slavery doesn't exist. No way. Uh, anyway, powerful shit, isn't it? But I believe that these beings exist. Now, I do close that portal, and I do get that. And, we give recognition to those entities of which we pronounce correctly, and we call you to go in peace, and we close this portal. Because that shit's real, man. It really is. I don't care what you say, it's real. I have prayed enough in tongues to tell you a human being can open fucking portals. You can do it. Anyway, as we continue on, says any substance we consume is a drug to the body, alters the chemistry, the food we eat. So by that logic, we can never go back to where we were. Bartender, another round for the group here. All right. Gaia said portal closed now. It is closed. Because this shit is real. I mean, y'all know this. And because I was feeling the vibe, man. I mean, you just get, for even myself reading and speaking, that there is this energy, and it's amplified through this microphone, which is re-amplified to however many people are watching this now. I mean, that's powerful stuff. Love is the drug I'm looking for. Now I'm going to go listen to some Roxy music. That's all I got to say. Chris, you're right. We're always evoking. Yeah, it is true. It is. Well, thank all of you. This was fun. I mean, I thought the title was good because, it's within this type of knowledge that I think we can turn the ship of fools to become, because every wise man or woman, which is a true witch, is a wise woman, was a fool at one time. The thing is not to stay one. You know? Yeah, I can identify with that. Was there myself one time. All right, folks. Much love to you. Neodia, it's the butterfly effect. Yeah, it is. And whew, love is a drug. I'm looking for, y'all know the song, right? Yeah, anyway. All right, folks. Nina says, if you missed it yesterday's show, I think that's what I'm seeing. Mary wins, love won. Exactly. All right. Much love, everyone. See y'all tomorrow. Just continue to smile. That's all I can say. That is a spell that no demon, no angel